Hello and welcome to the final episode of Raucus Attempts Esports, at least in the format of the racing week calendar that we've been going through. This is Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal in Canada. You would recognise this from the F1 season. It's a pretty iconic track. It's a bit of a different format this week. We're going to be just doing the one race, which is the final one of the season for me. Not my last one ever, and there is other things that I will be putting up, but in this kind of category of one season of learning from complete rookie with no idea what I'm doing, all the way up to this kind of end of season. This is the bookend of that journey. So this is my final race. As always, I hope you're all doing okay. Lockdown seems to be easing a little bit with everyone, so it seems to be quite well timed with coming to an end of this journey. So it's all one race. I have cut it down, so the final race time was about 25 minutes. I'm not expecting anyone to sit through the entire of that. If you're just casually been watching these videos, if you're really into your racing, Gilles Villeneuve, there is a lot of just kind of straight line racing, so just going down the straight with someone drafting you, with not a lot going on. There's not too much to watch, so I have cut it down. It's still longer than some of my other ones. I've tried to keep it in specifically because there are some points I want to make about if you want to watch it all the way through and you are interested in iRacing and you are interested in getting into esports, as I think there has been a bit of a highlight on it during this lockdown process. Understanding the amount of time and the amount of kind of endurance and consistency and pressure that you're going to have to go under to be successful in it, it's not casual. So I mean, this is riding on with a lap. I've taken first place in the beginning of the grid here, and I've kept first place, and it's just buckling down, not succumbing to the pressure, keeping the foot in. So in that first section, it's really about getting down through the gears, getting down into the slow speeds, getting through those tight twisty corners with the best possible exit, which I've done. I've kept the lead. Going through here, you want to cut back down into first gear, get as much of this curve as possible. I could have cut more even there than I did, then up into second. This is a bit of a straight, so you want to maximise that, push all the way through. You want to minimise scrubbing as much speed off as you can, but then it's so detrimental here. You've got so many things that can go wrong. If you're too far on the left coming into this, you hit a dusty patch, you spin out. If you don't hit enough speed, you're straight into that chicane. We've seen things like Vettel and Hamilton having a bit of a ding-dong in that corner, probably from exactly that. It just hasn't cut enough speed and he's gone straight across. Here, really getting down into that apex, getting down into the first gear and the shortest braking point, and then power on all the way up this massive straight. It loses you so much time if you get that wrong. It took me the majority of the time that I made up, I think, was really just in not losing time in that corner. I think the rest of the circuit I was not doing too badly in, but just focusing every time on not messing that up, because if you've got someone in the slipstream, which I do for this race, you see how much time they're gaining there just from being behind me. It's the same car, it's the same kind of setup, like it's the same brake horsepower. Unless there's a breakage on the car, they're just going to draft straight up behind you every time, and you get that lap after lap around here. It's incredibly difficult to stay ahead. And as you can see here, he's just drafted straight up, straight past me. There's nothing you can do about that. If you try to fight it, you're causing problems for both of you, because you put that wall of champions, that chicane at the end of that straight, from the fastest point of the lap into the slowest point of the lap. It's not the slowest point actually, I don't think, but from the speed that you're going, it's incredibly technical to not mess that up. And you don't really want to be overly fighting into that corner unless you absolutely have to. unless you're putting everything on the line, which is always a dicey moment. And that's fine if you're going into a kind of a medium wide corner with space to make that adjustment and for both of you to come out. But 2 cars into that really doesn't go. Someone has to back out of it. So you really need to know who you're racing and whether they're likely to do that. But you can see now, again, this is the thing with this track. You a bit like if you were watching the Interlagos virtual Formula 1 race that they did on the F1 game. Once you get onto the back straight here, you just draft straight up back to the person who's overtaken you on the previous lap. So there's a lot of trading places. There's a bit of a kind of mathematics game to work out who's going to end up on the last lap at the end and not make mistakes. You can see there he was obviously going a bit too hot, and that's cost him too much curb. A little bit of that depends on how you set the car up, I suppose, as well. But here again, you can see back at the end of the next lap, he's right behind me again. I think I must have had a good exit on that corner to kind of to pull back up ahead of him, but still he's right back with me. That draft up that straight is so powerful. But luckily the corners do, if you're in the right place, if you stay on that right hand side, move over to the left through that corner and then back to the right, you've always got the right areas of track. So I learned quite quickly, having managed to maintain the lead for a couple of laps, where I needed to be to make life incredibly difficult to get past. It's still not impossible, but again, you can see we're back at it again. Same part of the lap, he's drafted all the way back, he's come up behind me. Thankfully he hasn't taken me out in any of these kind of these draftings right up into that corner, because it only takes someone to take a little bit of an extra bite out and he's into the back of you. Again, my braking point's just that tiny bit further forward than him, just eking out every bit of the track that I can without spinning. I've lowered my tyre temps right down here to give me that extra bit of traction. It probably costs me a bit of speed, but in just extending those braking points and just giving me the little bit of extra traction to do things that he obviously doesn't feel that he can, is crucial in this battle here. This guy is very much on par with me, and he's got that added couple of extra brake horsepower every lap, because he's able to just draft in behind, and he should, in theory, be able to swing past me pretty easily if he's got even a little bit of a kind of an advantage. He should be able to do that, or at least if I make any mistakes, he should be able to do that. But we shall see. This kind of goes on for the entire race. This is a real hard battle. This. We dropped the guys at the beginning, they kind of fell off the wagon a bit, a couple of errors. We built about a 30-second gap over the course of the race between the two of us, drafting each other, which does help us both out, gives us a bit of kind of leeway if there is an issue. You can see he's already coming back to me. He knows I'm good off that last corner up that straight. He wants to get to that point first, and try and break this cycle, but I hold this inside line. After a couple of laps he starts to realise what I'm doing, because he then has to go wide into that corner. He loses a vast amount of time, and I always get that good traction point off the beginning. So he really starts trying to push me to get out of that spot so he can take it, which I'm very wise to. Same with this, if you're on the inside, you get a better line into the corner from the outside and turning in, but you're still behind someone's still going into that corner ahead of you, so mentally to try and come around the outside of that, you just can't do it. But again, yeah, he's got the better run because he's come from the wider line and a straighter angle through that corner, but I'm just getting that braking point further in there, turning in, making it stick. It's not ideal sometimes, but again, he's drifted out a little bit there. I would say that's probably because he might have a slightly higher tyre pressure than mine, and by this point my tyres are nicely warmed up, and maybe a little bit more warm than him. Problem is that does then rub the tyres raw, so as the race kind of progresses, you're losing grip continually, and you get to a point, especially around here, because you're really hammering those braking points and really drifting out through some of these fast chicane sections, where suddenly you're just starting to feel like the car has just become a bag of nails, and everything just feels horrible. Shifting gears feels horrible. The tyres are scrubbing, and you're kind of scraping across the surface. You're not digging in and getting around the corners fast. And when you're under immense pressure like this for 25 minutes, it's not easy. So while this continues, we've got a little while of this battle for you to watch. We've had a couple of highlights throughout the season, so as this is the last race, once we've got a little bit of time, I'll go through some of the things throughout all of the videos and throughout all of the things that we've been through. So during this, to begin with, one of the previous races to this, actually looked up and I actually clocked that there was a racing driver that I've actually seen live on track, Sarah Bovey, for the W Series, which is becoming a feeder category for the F1. Actually appeared in my mirrors behind me. I got so excited, I pulled the clutch in, changed down too early into this critical corner, and went into second and spewed my engine and my gearbox all over the track, which was rather disappointing because I was just about to be racing her, and up to that point I'd out-qualified her, I had out-raced her, I was in second at that point, she was in third. It would have been an epic bit of racing for me. I probably would have lost, but still, just getting to go toe-to-toe around a track with a real race driver is always a real privilege, something you do get occasionally around this platform, as I had with my interview with the Esports advisor and Ford's Esports racer Phil Russell. That was great fun, getting to trade some hot laps and have a chat about the kind of the sacrifices he's had to make and his family's had to make to get him through his racing career, and it was really nice for him to make the time to chat and give me a bit of an insight on what to do, things he's learned, and ultimately that then led me to sign up for Excite Energy's NHS Heroes event, which was really good fun. I definitely didn't win by any standards, but I really enjoyed it. It was very hard. It was the hardest racing that I've had to do, probably bar maybe this and one other thing, but even so, I think probably the strength of field that I was racing there was really high. There was no chance I was ever winning that at the level that I'm at currently, but it was incredible to kind of sense what the kind of the realistic level of competition is. Had an MX-5 win early in the season, having come off the back of a pretty bad week. Getting that was really nice, and finally I've signed up with the UK Motorsports F3, which is what I will be going on to after this. See whether I continue to make videos about that. Obviously as lockdown eases, things are going to change, so we'll see, but I'm very much looking forward to that, and I think that starts in a week or two after having qualified. But here we are cut to the final lap of the race, and you can see him drifting in here. There's a bit of net code there. You can see him tapping my back wheel. This could have been an absolute shocker. Final race. I've put in so much time into Montreal because it was the final week. I wanted to do well. I really wanted to come out with a win, so I was absolutely going hell for leather in this race. To lead so many laps from the front around here with someone drafting you, like, I'm pretty proud of that myself. I lost the lead once, and yeah, that was him done. You could call it a racing incident, but he was behind me, and it looks like he hits my back there. There's a little bit of wobble from both cars, but that's skippies. They do wobble under speed. And yeah, I took the win. I was super pumped. It was an incredible finish to the season. Points breakdown does go on your strength of field that you're racing, so actually the Alton Park was my best. But yes, 86th as it stood when I finished that race, so I will take that. That's top 100. That is exactly what I wanted to achieve. So thank you for following this through. If you've been watching all the videos, it's been great fun. I've really enjoyed doing them and getting to have the time to kind of go through all of this. And yeah, do keep an eye out for some of the specials we'll put up. I will put up a highlights with some of the other things we've been doing, like the Don't Drink and Drive on Forza Horizon 4, some of the Excite Esports race that I did, and some just general highlights from the season. I'll pop them up as well. So keep an eye out for that. So it's not all completely gone yet, but yeah, thank you for supporting us, and I hope things continue to improve for everyone, and life continues to return to normal. Thanks for watching.